Hey there, I'm Ted. I want to show you how to play every kind of chord on the piano in 5 minutes. I think we can do it, but we don't have time to waste, so let's get started. First, you're going to have a much easier time finding all kinds of weird chords if you start by numbering the notes of a major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Numbering the C major scale like this makes it easy to find any kind of C chord. You'll need to number other scales if you want to find other kinds of chords. For example, if I number the A major scale, I can find any kind of A chord. Like a lot of piano teachers, I'm constantly telling my piano students to learn all their major scales, and this is just one of the reasons why it makes it easier to find chords. For the rest of this video, we'll learn every chord type based on C and the C major scale. And everyone can play a C major scale. You just start on C and play every white key, or you can just put your hands down on the piano like that. And now we're ready to get into it. We have 3 categories of chords to look at: simple 3-note chords, slash chords, and extended harmony. We'll start with the 3-note chords. We have major, minor, diminished, augmented, and sus chords. Keep in mind, the most common are major and minor. The majority of chord symbols you find in chord charts are major and minor chords. So major is just 1, 3, and 5 of the major scale. Minor is 1 flat 3 and 5. Diminished lowers the 5th from a minor chord. Augmented raises the 5th from a major chord. And for a sus chord, you take a major chord and substitute the 4th scale degree for the 3rd. And that is it for 3-note chords. Now let's look at slash chords. A slash chord has the name of a chord on top and the name of a bass note on the bottom. Sometimes that just means you're taking a note that's already in the chord and putting it in the bass, and that's called an inversion. There are also times where the bass note doesn't belong in the chord. So this, for example, is a C over F. We could notate it as a fancy kind of F chord, but it's more practical just to call it C over F. By the way, if you're a songwriter or composer, this is a great way to come up with interesting sounding chords. You can take a simple 3-note chord in your right hand and experiment with different bass notes. All we have left is extended harmony. With extended harmony, we're adding new notes to these basic chords and labeling them by where they are in the scale. So here's C add 2. We've added the 2nd note of the C major scale. Here's C6, that adds the 6th, and here's C major 7. Now in a moment we're going to launch into big chords like C13 flat 9, but first we need to learn some alterations to that basic major 7th chord. I think they're easiest to learn in this sequence. You start with major 7, 1, 3, 5, and 7 of the major scale. Lower the 7th, and that's a dominant 7. Lower the 3rd, that's minor 7. Lower the 5th, half diminished, and then if you lower the 7th again, that's fully diminished. Now that we have all our basic 7th chords, we can add on chord extensions, and that's the only concept we have left. Just like everything we've done so far, the numbers we use for chord extensions come from the notes of a major scale, but now we're extending that major scale over 2 octaves: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So here's a major 9, sharp 11, 13 chord. An easy shortcut to find the 9, 11, and 13, they're the same as 2, 4, and 6. But if you're seeing the numbers 9 and up, it means they're stacked on top of one of our basic 7th chords. You'll always see the name of the type of 7th chord on the bottom, unless it's a dominant 7th chord. In that case, it'll just be numbered by the highest chord extension. Any of these chord extensions can be altered, and that's fairly self-explanatory. At a flat, they go down a half step. At a sharp, they go up a half step, and that's it. Okay, we made it. The world of harmony is big and it's ever expanding, and so I'm sure I missed some kinds of chords, and I'd love for you to put those in the comments. Might be helpful to other piano students. Now, obviously, it's a longer-term project to get really comfortable finding these chords in every key, but at least now you won't ever be surprised when you come across a weird chord symbol in a chord chart. If you want a downloadable visual guide to everything I talked about in this lesson, I'll leave a link to that, totally free. My name is Ted. Thank you for watching, and happy practicing.